No one could understand the billionaire, until a single voice broke the silence. But here's what nobody saw coming. The richest man in the room was about to be humiliated by his own voice. Kenji Takahashi, net worth $12 billion, stormed into the Grand Seville Hotel like a man possessed. No bodyguards. No assistants. No translator. Big mistake. His Armani suit screamed power, but his face screamed desperation. The front desk staff took one look at him and knew, this was either going to make their careers or destroy them. Kenji's voice exploded in rapid Japanese. Sharp. Urgent. Furious. The receptionist's smile died instantly. She didn't understand a single word. Neither did her manager. Or the concierge. Or the bellhop now backing away like Kenji carried a disease. For the first time in his life, Kenji Takahashi, the man who commanded respect in 7 languages, who made presidents wait for his phone calls, was completely powerless. His voice rose higher. Faster. More desperate. Watashi wa. I'm sorry, sir, I don't. Hotaru no. Sir, please, if you could just. The translation app on the receptionist's phone kept crashing. The words made no sense. The staff exchanged looks that said, we're screwed. But here's the thing about power. It's only as strong as your ability to communicate it. And right now, the most powerful man in the building was as helpless as a child screaming in a language no one spoke. His hands clenched into fists. His jaw tightened. This wasn't just embarrassing, this was career-ending humiliation about to go viral. Because phones were coming out. Videos were starting to record. The billionaire meltdown was about to begin. But in the corner of that marble lobby, someone was listening. Really listening. A young black woman in simple clothes sat perfectly still, watching this disaster unfold. While everyone else saw chaos, she heard something different. She heard words. Clear, perfect, desperate words. Words she understood completely. And she had a choice to make. Stay silent and watch a powerful man crumble. Let this hotel's reputation burn to the ground. Let the staff lose their jobs over a language barrier. Or stand up. Walk over. And shatter every assumption in that room with 3 simple Japanese words that would change everything. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Her palms went slick with sweat. Because what nobody in that lobby knew, not the staff, not the guests, not even Kenji himself, was that this quiet girl in the corner had spent 3 years teaching herself Japanese in secret. Late nights with textbooks. Endless hours with language apps. Dreams of a world beyond anything her mother's housekeeping salary could provide. And now those secret dreams were about to collide with reality in the most impossible way. The question wasn't whether she could help. The question was, would she have the courage to try? Time slowed. Kenji's voice cracked with frustration. The staff looked ready to call security. And in that moment, everything hung on what happened next. Thought balloon, what do you think she'll do? Will she step in, or let the chaos unfold? Backhand index pointing down. Drop your predictions in the comments, I'd love to hear your take. If this story pulled you in, hit like to let me know, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what happens in next. Trust me, you won't want to miss the twist. She stood up. Every eye in that lobby should have turned to her. But they didn't. Because when you're nobody, you stay invisible, even when you're about to change everything. Amara Johnson took her first step forward. Then her second. Her mother's voice echoed in her head, keep your head down, baby. Don't make waves. People like us don't get involved with people like them. But Kenji's voice was getting more desperate. More broken. Dairemo wakat kurinai, he shouted. Nobody understands me. The words hit Amara like lightning. Because she did understand. Every syllable. Every ounce of frustration bleeding through his voice. The receptionist was near tears now. "Sir, I'm calling our manager." Dame de. Kenji slammed his hand on the marble counter. No good. The sound cracked through the lobby like a gunshot. Guests jumped. A child started crying. Security guards appeared from nowhere, hands moving toward their radios. This was spiraling into chaos. Fast. Kenji's breathing got heavier. His face flushed red. For a man who controlled boardrooms full of sharks, being reduced to charades and pointing was psychological torture. He tried English again. "I need my reservation." But his accent was thick, his frustration making it worse. The staff exchanged those looks again. The ones that said, "This is about to explode." But Amara kept walking. Step by step through that maze of marble and mahogany. Past the shocked guests. Past the panicked staff. Past every voice in her head screaming that she didn't belong here. Her hands shook. Her throat felt dry as sand. Because what if she was wrong? What if her self-taught Japanese wasn't good enough? What if she made it worse? What if they laughed at her? But then Kenji's voice cracked completely. "Tasakite. Help me." And something inside Amara shattered. Not from fear. From recognition. She'd said those same words herself. Different language, same desperation. Standing outside scholarship offices. Begging teachers for extra credit. Pleading for chances nobody wanted to give. She knew that sound. The sound of someone drowning in plain sight. Her next step was stronger. More sure. Because this wasn't about courage anymore. This was about compassion. Here's what nobody tells you about hotels. One bad review from the wrong person doesn't just hurt business. It ends careers. Marcus, the night manager, felt his stomach drop as he recognized Kenji's face. Not from meeting him. From Forbes magazine. From business newspapers. From the kind of financial articles that made grown men wake up in cold sweats. This wasn't just any billionaire having a meltdown. This was the billionaire. The one who could buy this entire hotel chain with pocket change. The one whose business empire stretched across 3 continents. The one whose bad day could become everyone else's nightmare. "Oh God," Marcus whispered under his breath. "We're dead." Because here's how it works in the luxury hotel business. Mess up a normal guest stay, you get a bad Yelp review. Mess up a billionaire's stay. You get destroyed. Professionally. Financially. Completely. Marcus had seen it happen before. The Meridian Hotel in Singapore, one language barrier disaster with a tech mogul, and within 6 months, half the staff was unemployed. The hotel itself sold for half its value. And now it was happening here. To him. The phones recording this disaster weren't just capturing embarrassment. They were capturing evidence. The kind that would be on social media within minutes. The kind that corporate headquarters would see before breakfast. The kind that ended careers and destroyed reputations overnight. Sarah, the receptionist, was practically hyperventilating now. 8 years of perfect performance reviews meant nothing if this went viral. 8 years of climbing the hospitality ladder, gone. Because she couldn't understand Japanese. "What do we do?" she whispered frantically. "What the hell do we do?" The concierge was already calculating his losses. The bellhop was updating his resume in his head. The security guards were trying to figure out how to handle a situation where the victim of their own protocol was worth more than their entire pension fund. But Kenji didn't care about their careers. He didn't care about their fears or their futures or their families depending on these jobs. He cared about one thing, getting what he came for. And every second they couldn't understand him, every second they stared at him like he was speaking alien language, was another second of his time wasted. Time that billionaires measure differently than everyone else. Time that, to him, was literally worth millions. Which made this delay the most expensive translation problem in the Grand Seville's history. And it was about to get worse. But while chaos consumed the marble lobby, one person remained perfectly still. Amara Johnson. 22 years old. Invisible to everyone who mattered. The kind of person rich people looked through, not at. She sat in that corner chair like she'd been placed there by accident. Simple jeans, simple sweater, simple life. Her mother, Rosa, cleaned these same floors every night after the guests went to bed. Scrubbed their toilets. Washed their sheets. Made their world spotless so they could pretend people like Rosa didn't exist. And Amara? She was Rosa's daughter. Which meant she was even less than invisible. She was furniture. But furniture sees everything. Amara watched Marcus pace behind the desk, sweat staining his expensive shirt. She saw Sarah's hands shake as she fumbled with translation apps that couldn't handle Kenji's rapid-fire desperation. She noticed the security guards positioning themselves like this was about to become a physical confrontation. Most importantly, she heard every word Kenji spoke. Every single word. While everyone else heard noise, she heard language. While they heard anger, she heard anguish. While they saw a billionaire having a meltdown, she saw something else entirely. A man who was lost. Not financially. Not professionally. Emotionally. His Japanese wasn't just frustrated, it was heartbroken. The way he kept repeating certain phrases, the slight tremor in his voice when he said specific words, this wasn't about a hotel reservation. This was about something deeper. Something personal. Something that mattered more than money. Amara's fingers twitched against her jeans. 3 years of secret study sessions were screaming at her to act. 3 years of dreaming about moments exactly like this one. When her hidden skill could matter. When she could step out of the shadows and prove she was more than her mother's daughter. More than invisible. But moving meant risk. Moving meant exposure. Moving meant revealing that the quiet girl in the corner had been listening to conversations she wasn't supposed to understand. Had been preparing for a life she wasn't supposed to want. Moving meant everything could change. Or everything could stay exactly the same forever. The choice was hers. And time was running out. Here's what nobody knew about Amara Johnson. While other kids her age were partying, she was grinding. While they were scrolling TikTok, she was studying kanji characters until her eyes burned. While they were sleeping, she was whispering Japanese phrases into her pillow at 2 a.m., terrified her mother would hear and ask questions she couldn't answer. 3 years. 1,095 nights. Self-taught from YouTube videos, library books, and sheer obsession. Not for college credit. Not for a degree. Not even for a job. For a dream that felt impossible. The dream of being more than Rosa Johnson's daughter. More than the girl who'd never afford college. More than another statistic from the wrong side of town. She'd memorized over 4,000 Japanese words. Mastered 3 different writing systems. Could discuss philosophy in Kigo formal speech or argue in Osaka street slang. But nobody knew. Not her mother, who worked double shifts to keep food on the table and couldn't understand why Amara wasted time on foreign nonsense. Not her high school teachers, who saw potential but couldn't see past her zip code. Not the guidance counselor who suggested community college because it's more realistic, honey. Nobody. Because dreams like hers weren't allowed for girls like her. Dreams required money. Dreams required connections. Dreams required the kind of privilege that came with marble lobbies and crystal chandeliers. Dreams didn't come to housekeepers' daughters. But as Kenji's voice cracked with desperation, "Dare ka watashi watasaki kudasai." Someone please help me. Amara felt every hour of secret study burning in her chest. Every late night when exhaustion tried to quit on her dreams. Every moment she chose hope over reality. Every time she whispered to herself, someday this will matter. Someday was now. Right here. Right now. In this impossible moment where a billionaire's breakdown and a poor girl's dreams were about to collide. Her heart hammered so hard she was sure everyone could hear it echoing off the marble. Because she understood him. Completely. Perfectly. Better than any translation app or professional interpreter. She understood his words, his pain, his desperation. And for the first time in her life, someone needed exactly what she had to offer. The question wasn't whether she could help. The question was whether she was brave enough to let the world see who she really was. Meanwhile, the staff's panic reached fever pitch. "He's going to destroy us," Sarah whispered to Marcus, her voice barely audible over Kenji's increasingly desperate Japanese. "Shut up and think." Marcus hissed back. "There has to be someone." "Who? Who speaks Japanese in this godforsaken place?" The gossip spread like wildfire through the hotel's back channels. Kitchen staff poked their heads out. Housekeepers appeared in doorways. Even the valet parking attendants had heard about the Japanese situation, and were placing bets on how fast corporate would fire everyone. "I heard he owns half of Tokyo," whispered Maria from room service. "My cousin said he bought a hotel chain just to fire the manager who kept him waiting," added James from security. "This is it," Sarah muttered, watching her career flash before her eyes. 8 years. 8 perfect years, and I'm going down because of Google Translate. But here's what made it worse. The other guests weren't just watching anymore. They were filming. Posting. Sharing in real time. #Billionaire Meltdown was about to trend. The Grand Seville's reputation was bleeding out in high definition, uploaded instantly to every social media platform that mattered. Marcus could already see the headlines: "Luxury Hotel Can't Handle Basic Translation." "Grand Seville Staff Humiliates International Guest." 5-star service, 0-star communication. Stock prices would tumble. Reservations would cancel. Investors would panic. All because nobody in this marble palace of supposed excellence could speak Japanese. "What about that girl?" James pointed toward the corner. "What girl?" "The one sitting there. Rosa's daughter." Marcus barely glanced over. "Are you insane? She's not even staff. She's just waiting." "For what?" "Hell if I know." Her mom's shift to end. They dismissed her with the same casual cruelty that people like them always used for people like her. Invisible. Irrelevant. Impossible. But while they whispered about their own destruction, while they calculated their losses and updated their resumes, Amara made her choice. She stood up. And everything changed. The moment Amara stood up, the universe held its breath. Every whispered conversation died. Every phone stopped recording. Even Kenji's desperate voice faltered for a split second. Because something about her movement was different. Not hesitant. Not scared. Purposeful. She walked across that marble floor like she owned it. Past the shocked guests. Past the panicked staff. Past every invisible barrier that had kept her in the shadows her entire life. Each step echoed with 22 years of silence breaking. Marcus noticed her first. "Hey. You can't." But Amara didn't stop. Didn't slow down. Didn't acknowledge him at all. Because for the first time in her life, she wasn't asking permission. She wasn't begging for a chance. She was taking one. Kenji's eyes locked onto hers as she approached. Something in his expression shifted. The desperation didn't leave, but surprise flickered across his face. This girl, this quiet girl nobody had noticed, was walking toward him like she had something to say. The lobby went dead silent. You could hear heartbeats. You could hear breathing. You could hear the sound of everyone's assumptions about to shatter. Amara stopped 3 feet from the front desk. Close enough to see the sweat on Sarah's forehead. Close enough to smell Marcus's expensive cologne mixed with fear. Close enough to feel Kenji's intensity radiating like heat from a fire. Her mouth went dry. Her hands trembled. This was it. The moment that would change everything or destroy her completely. She opened her mouth. Sumamasen. The word cut through the silence like lightning through darkness. Perfect pronunciation. Perfect tone. Perfect Japanese. Kenji's eyes went wide. The staff froze like they'd seen a ghost. But Amara wasn't done. Watashi ga otetsudai dekamasu ka? May I help you? The words flowed from her lips like she'd been born speaking them. Like she belonged in this conversation. Like she belonged in this world. Kenji stared at her for 3 heartbeats that felt like 3 years. Then he spoke, his voice barely a whisper. Anata wa Nihongo ga wakarimasu ka? You understand Japanese? Amara's heart exploded with joy and terror. Because she'd done it. She'd shattered the silence. But now came the hard part. Now she had to prove she belonged here. Kenji's stare cut through Amara like a blade. Doko de Nihongo wa naramashita ka? Where did you learn Japanese? His tone wasn't grateful. It was suspicious. Dangerous. Because billionaires don't trust coincidences. They don't believe in miracles. They believe in setups, schemes, and people trying to exploit them. And this? A random girl in a hotel lobby speaking perfect Japanese right when he needed it most. This felt like a trap. Amara's throat went dry, but she didn't flinch. Jibun de Benkyu Shimashita. Sanin kan. I taught myself. For 3 years. The staff behind her collectively lost their minds. Did she just? Sarah whispered. Holy shit, Marcus breathed. She's actually talking to him. Rosa's daughter speaks Japanese. Maria from housekeeping appeared like magic. Rosa's daughter. But Kenji wasn't impressed yet. If anything, his suspicion deepened. Nays. Why? One word. Sharp as a knife. Demanding truth. Why would a poor black girl from America spend 3 years learning his language? Why would she be here, right now, when he needed help most desperately? The math didn't add up. And when math didn't add up, Kenji smelled deception. Amara felt every eye in that lobby burning into her skin. The weight of their disbelief. Their shock. Their judgment. But she looked Kenji dead in the eye and told him the truth. Yum will not eat a kara. Because I had a dream. Something flickered in Kenji's expression. The suspicion didn't disappear, but it shifted. Softened. Just slightly. Because he understood dreams. He understood the kind of hunger that made people do impossible things. Donna Yum. What kind of dream? Sekai wa tsunaga yum. Katoba wa tsujujite. The dream of connecting worlds. Through language. Now the lobby was electric with tension. Staff members were pulling out their phones, recording this impossible into amazement. Shinjurinai. Unbelievable. The word escaped his lips like a prayer. And for the first time since walking into the Grand Seville, Kenji Takahashi smiled. But here's what nobody was prepared for. Kenji didn't just hear perfect Japanese. He heard home. Anata no accento wa. Tokyo no minami disu eni. Your accent is South Tokyo, isn't it? Amara's heart stopped. He was testing her again, but this time it was personal. Hi. YouTube de Shibuya no Hidotachi kara Manabishimashita. Yes. I learned from Shibuya people on YouTube. Kenji's jaw dropped. Not just because she got it right, but because she'd somehow captured the exact rhythm, the precise intonation, the street-level authenticity that you can't fake. She sounded like she'd grown up walking those neon-lit streets. Like she'd bought ramen from late-night vendors. Like she'd lived the culture, not just studied it. Meanwhile, the staff was losing their absolute minds. "That's Rosa's baby," Maria whispered, tears in her eyes. Rosa's little girl who used to color in the break room. "She speaks better Japanese than our translation service," Marcus muttered, watching his prejudices crumble in real time. "How is this possible?" Sarah stared like she was witnessing a miracle. But the guests? The guests were having a different reaction entirely. Uncomfortable shuffling. Confused whispers. Side eyes full of disbelief. Because their brains couldn't process what they were seeing. A young black woman. Speaking flawless Japanese. To a billionaire. In their exclusive space. It broke their algorithm. Shattered their assumptions. Made them question everything they thought they knew about who belonged where. "Is she, actually?" one guest whispered. "How could she possibly?" muttered another. Their discomfort was palpable. Toxic. The kind that comes when reality refuses to match prejudice. But Kenji? Kenji was in a completely different world. Neon no bunka enaitsu, do omomasu ka. What do you think about Japanese culture? It was the ultimate test. Culture isn't just language, it's soul. It's understanding context, respect, nuance. Amara took a breath and spoke from her heart. Bunka wa katoba dake ja arimasen. Kokoro no kakahashi disu. Sunkei to rikai no. Culture isn't just words. It's a bridge of hearts. Of respect and understanding. The lobby went dead silent. Even the prejudiced guests stopped whispering. Because what she just said wasn't textbook Japanese. It was poetry. Philosophy. Truth. Kenji stared at her for 5 heartbeats. Then he did something that changed everything. He bowed. A deep, respectful bow. To her. That bow changed everything. Not just for Amara. For everyone in that lobby. Because when a man worth $12 billion bows to you, the world stops spinning and recalculates your worth. Kenji straightened up, and for the first time since entering the Grand Seville, his face wasn't a mask of controlled fury. It was human. Arigatou gozaimashita. Thank you. But it wasn't just gratitude. It was recognition. Respect. The kind you can't buy, can't fake, can't demand. The kind you earn. Then something impossible happened. Kenji smiled. Not the razor-sharp smile he used in boardrooms to intimidate competitors. Not the practiced smile he gave to cameras and shareholders. This was different. Softer. Real. The smile of a man who just discovered something beautiful in the last place he expected to find it. And when billionaires smile like that, the universe pays attention. Sarah nearly collapsed behind the front desk. The crisis that was about to destroy her career had just evaporated. Because of Rosa's daughter. Rosa's quiet, invisible daughter who apparently spoke Japanese like a native. Marcus felt his blood pressure dropping for the first time in an hour. His job was safe. The hotel's reputation was intact. Maybe even enhanced. But the guests? The guests were having full-blown existential crises. Their entire worldview had just been drop-kicked into another dimension. The girl they'd overlooked, the girl their eyes had slid past like she was part of the furniture, had just commanded respect from one of the most powerful men on earth. "How?" whispered one woman in a Chanel suit. "Why didn't we know?" muttered a man adjusting his Rolex nervously. Because they'd never bothered to look. Never bothered to see. Never bothered to consider that brilliance might come wrapped in simple clothes and quiet voices. But Amara? Amara felt something she'd never experienced before. Validation. Not from a teacher giving her an A. Not from her mother saying she was proud. From someone who had everything, acknowledging that she had something valuable too. Something rare. Something worth his time. For 22 years, she'd been invisible. But in this moment, standing in that marble lobby with crystal chandeliers casting light on her face, Amara Johnson finally felt seen. And it was intoxicating. Then Kenji said something that made everyone's blood freeze. Watashi to isho ni kite kudasai. Come with me. Not a request. A command. The lobby erupted in barely contained chaos. Sir, she's not authorized, Marcus stepped forward, panic creeping back into his voice. She's not even staff. Sarah added desperately. But Kenji's eyes never left Amara's face. Anata wa watashi no tsuyakusha disu. You are my translator here today. 6 words that changed everything. Again. Because when a billionaire declares you his translator, you don't argue. You don't question. You don't suggest alternatives. You follow. But the staff wasn't giving up without a fight. Mr. Takahashi, we have professional translation services. Insurance liability issues. She's not qualified. Kenji finally turned to face them, and the temperature in that lobby dropped 10 degrees. Watashi ga kimamasu. I decide. His voice carried the weight of empires. The authority of someone who'd never been told no by anyone who mattered. And right now, they didn't matter. Only Amara did. She felt every eye in that lobby burning into her skin. The staff's mixture of panic and disbelief. The guests' shocked whispers. The security guards calculating whether this was somehow against protocol. But none of that mattered anymore. Because Kenji was already walking toward the elevator. Not checking to see if she'd follow. Not asking permission from anyone. Expecting her to keep up. Amara's legs felt like rubber, but she moved anyway. Step by step. Past the stunned staff. Past the gossiping guests. Past every voice in her head screaming that girls like her didn't belong in Billionaire's private elevators. The whispers followed her like knives. Rosa's going to die when she finds out. What if something happens to her up there? This is insane. But as the elevator doors started to close, sealing her inside with the most powerful man she'd ever met, Amara realized something terrifying. This wasn't just about translation anymore. This was about something bigger. Something that had brought Kenji here alone, without his usual army of assistants. Something personal. Something dangerous. And she was about to find out exactly what that was. The elevator climbed toward the penthouse, carrying her toward a conversation that would change her life forever. The penthouse doors slid shut behind them with a sound like a tomb ceiling. Kenji didn't speak. Didn't move. Just stood there staring out at the city skyline, his silhouette dark against the floor-to-ceiling windows. The silence stretched until Amara's nerves felt like live wires. Then he turned around, and she saw something that made her blood freeze. Tears. Not falling. But there. Threatening to spill from the eyes of a man who probably hadn't cried in decades. Anata wa, kanojo no yudisu. You are, like her. His voice cracked on the words. Broken. Raw. Dare no koto disu ka. Who do you mean? But even as she asked, Amara knew. The way his hands trembled slightly. The way his billion-dollar composure crumbled like paper in rain. Someone he'd loved. Someone he'd lost. Kenji walked to his briefcase with movements that looked like they hurt. Pulled out a photograph. Held it like it might shatter. Watashi no Muzum. Yuki. My daughter. Yuki. The photo showed a young Japanese woman, maybe 25, with bright eyes and a smile that could light up rooms. She was holding language books. Certificates covered the wall behind her. Kanojo mo Jengo ga Suki Deshita. Igo, Furinsugo, Supaingo, Sabit wa Benkyu Shida Mashida. She also loved languages. English, French, Spanish, she was studying everything. Amara's heart clenched. Ima wa doko ni? Where is she now? The photograph slipped from his fingers, floating to the marble floor like a falling leaf. Inai. Gone. One word that contained universes of pain. Kotoshir no hajime inai. Kuruma no jikoda. Earlier this year. Car accident. The silence that followed wasn't just quiet. It was deafening. The kind of silence that follows when someone's entire world collapses. Suddenly everything made sense. Why he'd come alone. Why seeing her speak Japanese had affected him so deeply. Why he'd brought her up here. She wasn't just his translator. She was a ghost of what he'd lost. A reminder of dreams that died too young. Anata wa might iru to, kanojo wa omoidasu. When I look at you, I remember her. And Amara realized with crystal clarity that this wasn't about business at all. This was about a father's broken heart trying to find a way to heal. The photograph lay on the marble floor between them. Yuki's smiling face staring up at the ceiling. Forever young. Forever learning. Forever gone. Amara knelt down and picked it up with trembling fingers. Kanojo wa Utsukushi disu. She was beautiful. But Kenji wasn't looking at the photo anymore. He was looking at her. Studying her face like he was seeing a miracle and a curse at the same time. Anata wa danat shirmao no ka, wakaranai. I don't know what will become of you. His voice was barely a whisper. Haunted. Yuki mo anata no uni yumwa madita. Sekai wa kiru yumwa. Yuki had dreams like yours too. Dreams of changing the world. Amara felt her chest tighten. Because she understood now. The weight he was carrying. The fear behind his eyes. He'd watched his daughter chase dreams that languages could build bridges. That words could heal divisions. That understanding could conquer hate. And then she died. And all those beautiful dreams died with her. Takahashi-san. She started to speak, but he cut her off. Yumwa kaiken disu. Yumwa hito wa korosu. Dreams are dangerous. Dreams kill people. The words hit the penthouse air like poison. I.e. No. Amara's voice was soft but steel strong. Yumwa hito wa ikashimasu. Anata no musum-san wa mata ikaide mesu. Watashi no naka enai. Dreams keep people alive. Your daughter is still alive. In me. Kenji's eyes went wide. Like she'd slapped him. Kanojo no jengo e no ai wa nakinata nai. Watashi ga sono ai wa mata mesu. Sashite watashi wa sono ai wa tsuzukuru. Her love for languages didn't die. I carry that love. And I will continue it. Tears finally spilled from Kenji's eyes. Not just a few. Floods. Years of grief he'd locked away came pouring out. The successful businessman crumbled, and what remained was just a father who missed his daughter so much it felt like dying every day. Demo moshi anata ni nanika ga okatra. But if something happens to you. Nanika ga okoru kamo shiremason. Demo sor wa yum wa yamaru ryu ni wa narimason. Something might happen. But that's not a reason to stop dreaming. She held out the photograph to him. Yuki-san wa watashi ga yum wa akaramaru koto wa nozonda nai to omomasu. I don't think Yuki would want me to give up on my dreams. Kenji wiped his eyes and something shifted. The grieving father stepped back. The billionaire businessman stepped forward. Anata and I go to no hanashir wa shimasu. I'm going to tell you about business. His voice regained its edge. Sharp. Calculating. But different now. Like a blade tempered by fire. Watashi wa koko ni kita ryu wa, takusen no okane no tame dua arimasen. The reason I came here isn't for lots of money. Amara's pulse quickened. This was it. The real reason. Sornara, nani no tame disuka. Then what is it for? Kenji walked to the window, his reflection ghost-like against the city lights. Yuki no yum wa jitsujin sasura tame disu. To make Yuki's dream come true. He turned back to her, and his eyes blazed with purpose. Kanojo wa jengo gaku wa tsukurata kata. Sekai ju no kadomo tachi ga, ju ni jengo wa manabu basho wa. She wanted to create a language school. A place where children from all over the world could learn languages freely. Demo kanojo ga shinda ato, sono yumemo shinda to omoi mashita. But after she died, I thought that dream died too. Amara's heart hammered. Sorwa shigaimasu. That's not true. Q, anata and ayata. Sashite wakata. Yuki no yum wamata ikite iru. Today, I met you. And I realized. Yuki's dream is still alive. He pulled out a contract from his briefcase. Pages and pages of legal documents. Kore wa nani disu. What is this? Nijuoku doru no kyaku disu. Sekaiju ni jengo senta wa tsukura tame no. A $200 million contract. To build language centers around the world. Amara's legs went weak. $200 million. Demo naze watashi ni. But why tell me? Anata ga sono purogarama no sensei ni naratai ka kite yamasu. I'm asking if you want to be the teacher of that program. The penthouse spun around her. Teacher? Of a $200 million program? Watashi wa tada. I'm just. Anata wa tada dua arimasen. Anata wa yuki no tamashii wa matamesu. You are not just anything. You carry Yuki's soul. He slid the contract across the marble table. Sane shite kudasai. Sashite Yuki no yum wa ikashite kudasai. Sign this. And bring Yuki's dream to life. Amara stared at the contract that could change everything. Her life. Her future. Her mother's future. The entire world. The penthouse door exploded open. Marcus stormed in with 3 security guards, his face red with panic and rage. Mr. Takahashi. This is completely inappropriate. His voice shattered the sacred moment like a sledgehammer through glass. Kenji's eyes went ice cold. Dare ga hairu koto wa kyoka shimashita ka. Who gave you permission to enter? But Marcus was beyond caring about protocol. He was watching his career implode in real time. Sir, we need to discuss your business. The hotel business. Not, whatever this is. He gestured wildly at Amara, at the contract, at the impossible scene playing out in front of him. She's nobody. She's the housekeeper's daughter. Why is Esuchi signing anything? The security guards looked uncomfortable, but Marcus was their boss. They had to back his play. This is irregular, sir, one guard added nervously. Insurance issues. Liability concerns. Amara felt the moment crashing down around her. The contract in her hands suddenly felt like evidence of a crime. But Kenji. Kenji transformed into something terrifying. Anata tachi wa watashi no jiken wa rutashite mesu. You are wasting my time. His voice could have frozen hellfire. Get out. The English words hit like gunshots. But Marcus wasn't backing down. He was desperate. Cornered. His entire worldview was crumbling. Sir, she's not qualified. She has no education. No credentials. She's just a girl who speaks Japanese. Just a girl. Kenji stepped forward, and the temperature dropped 20 degrees. This just a girl understood me when your entire professional staff failed. This just a girl has more cultural knowledge than your translation services. This just a girl carries my daughter's spirit. Marcus's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. But the hotel business. The hotel business is nothing compared to what she offers. Kenji's voice built to a roar that shook the windows. She has dreams worth more than your pathetic careers. Vision worth more than your small minds can comprehend. The security guards took a step back. Because they were witnessing something unprecedented. A billionaire choosing a dream over business. A powerful man choosing heart over profit. A father choosing his daughter's legacy over everything else. And Marcus realized with crystal clarity that he'd just made the worst mistake of his life. The penthouse door exploded open. Marcus stormed in with 3 security guards, his face red with panic and rage. Mr. Takahashi. This is completely inappropriate. His voice shattered the sacred moment like a sledgehammer through glass. Kenji's eyes went ice cold. Dare Jie Hairu Koto wa Kyoka Shimashita ka? Who gave you permission to enter? But Marcus was beyond caring about protocol. He was watching his career implode in real time. Sir, we need to discuss your business. The hotel business. Not, whatever this is. He gestured wildly at Amara, at the contract, at the impossible scene playing out in front of him. She's nobody. She's the housekeeper's daughter. Why is Esichi signing anything? The security guards looked uncomfortable, but Marcus was their boss. They had to back his play. This is irregular, sir, one guard added nervously. Insurance issues. Liability concerns. Amara felt the moment crashing down around her. The contract in her hands suddenly felt like evidence of a crime. But Kenji. Kenji transformed into something terrifying. Anatatachi wa watashi no jiken wa rudashite mesu. You are wasting my time. His voice could have frozen hellfire. Get out. The English words hit like gunshots. But Marcus wasn't backing down. He was desperate. Cornered. His entire worldview was crumbling. Sir, she's not qualified. She has no education. No credentials. She's just a girl who speaks Japanese. Just a girl. Kenji stepped forward, and the temperature dropped 20 degrees. This just a girl understood me when your entire professional staff failed. This just a girl has more cultural knowledge than your translation services. This just a girl carries my daughter's spirit. Marcus's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. But the hotel business. The hotel business is nothing compared to what she offers. Kenji's voice built to a roar that shook the windows. She has dreams worth more than your pathetic careers. Vision worth more than your small minds can comprehend. The security guards took a step back. Because they were witnessing something unprecedented. A billionaire choosing a dream over business. A powerful man choosing heart over profit. A father choosing his daughter's legacy over everything else. And Marcus realized with crystal clarity that he'd just made the worst mistake of his life. The silence after Kenji's explosion was deafening. Marcus stood frozen, sweat pouring down his face. The security guards looked like they wanted to disappear into the marble floor. But Kenji wasn't done. He wall. Watashi wa anata wa miru toki, kibu wa mamesu. When I look at you, I see hope. He knelt down and picked up Yuki's photograph from where it had fallen during the chaos. Yuki wa itsumo kibo ni mike ita. Anata mo onaji disu. Yuki was always filled with hope. You're the same. Amara felt tears burning her eyes. Because she understood what he was really saying. She wasn't just a replacement for his daughter. She wasn't just a painful reminder of what he'd lost. She was proof that Yuki's spirit lived on. That dreams don't die with dreamers. That hope can be passed from one generation to the next like a sacred flame. Anata wa watashi ni okuramono wa kuramashita. You gave me a gift. Nani wa? What? Kanojo no ko wa kikuru u ni shite kurita. Mata. You let me hear her voice again. The words hit Amara like lightning. Because she realized what had really happened in this penthouse. This wasn't about business deals or language programs or even life-changing opportunities. This was about a broken father finding a way to connect with his lost daughter one more time. Through her words. Through her dreams. Through her unstoppable hope. Marcus and his security guards might see a nobody trying to reach above her station. But Kenji saw a mirror of everything he'd lost and everything he still believed in. A living, breathing reminder that love transcends death. And dreams never truly die. Kenji stood up and made a declaration that shattered every assumption in that room. Kore kara, Amara Johnson wa watashi no kashiki natsuyakusha disu. From now on, Amara Johnson is my official translator. The words hit like earthquakes. Marcus's face went through 5 stages of grief in 3 seconds. Denial. Anger. Bargaining. Depression. And finally, terrifying acceptance. Because he realized what this meant. The housekeeper's daughter had just become the most powerful person in this hotel. More powerful than him. More powerful than the general manager. More powerful than anyone who didn't have a direct line to $12 billion. But sir. Demo naniamo nai. But nothing. Kenji's voice cut through Marcus's protest like a sword through silk. Then he did something that made the security guard's jaws drop. He pulled out his phone and made a call. In perfect English. Get me the owner of the Grand Seville hotel chain. Now. 30 seconds later, Mr. Richardson. This is Kenji Takahashi. I'm calling about your Seville hotel. I want to discuss a partnership. Yes, I'm here now. No, there's been a change in plans. He looked directly at Marcus while he spoke. I want to hire one of your people for a permanent position. Amara Johnson. She'll be working directly with me on a $200 million international project. Marcus nearly collapsed. What's that? No, she's not current staff. She's better than staff. She's irreplaceable. The call lasted 5 minutes. 5 minutes that rewrote Amara's entire future. When Kenji hung up, he smiled. Anata no adarashii kuryu wa nenkin juman doru disu. Your new salary is $100,000 a year. Amara's knees nearly gave out. $100,000. More than her mother made in 5 years of cleaning floors. Sashite sor wa hajimari ni sujinai. And that's just the beginning. He handed her a business card. Solid gold. Engraved with her name. Amara Johnson. International Cultural Liaison. Takahashi Enterprises. Omedetou gozaimasu. Anata wa maumyanai ningen dua arimasen. Congratulations. You are no longer invisible. The invisible girl had just become impossible to ignore. The elevator doors opened on the lobby level. And everything had changed. Not the marble floors. Not the crystal chandeliers. Not the expensive art hanging on the walls. But the energy. The atmosphere. The invisible hierarchy that ruled this space. Because Amara Johnson walked out of that elevator differently. Head high. Shoulders back. Golden business card clutched in her hand like a weapon of mass social destruction. Behind her, Kenji followed. Not beside her like an equal. Behind her. Like a protector. Like someone who had her back against the entire world. The lobby went dead silent. Every conversation died. Every phone lowered. Every eye locked onto the impossible sight walking toward them. The housekeeper's daughter. In a $1,000 business card. With the billionaire trailing behind her like a bodyguard. Sarah's mouth fell open. Is that Rosa's baby? Maria whispered, tears streaming down her face. Rosa's little girl. But the guests? The guests were having full-scale mental breakdowns. Because their entire worldview had just been nuked from orbit. The girl they'd dismissed. The girl they'd ignored. The girl they'd treated like furniture. She was now walking across their exclusive lobby like she owned it. And technically, after that phone call upstairs, she kind of did. Attention everyone, Kenji's voice cut through the stunned silence. I'd like you to meet my new international cultural liaison, Miss Amara Johnson. The words echoed off the marble like gunshots. International. Cultural. Liaison. Each word rewrote the social order of that lobby in real time. She will be working closely with me on a multi-million-dollar global education initiative. Marcus appeared at the top of the stairs, looking like he'd aged 10 years in 10 minutes. His face was the color of ash. Because he understood what everyone else was still processing. The girl he'd dismissed as nobody now had more power in this building than he did. The girl whose mother cleaned these floors was now going to walk on them as an equal to the people who used to look through her. From this moment forward, Kenji continued, his voice carrying the authority of empires, Miss Johnson speaks with my full authority. Translation, cross her, and you cross me. Defy her, and you defy $12 billion. Disrespect her, and discover what real power looks like when it's angry. But Kenji wasn't finished reshaping Amara's world. There's one more thing, he announced to the mesmerized lobby. He pulled out an envelope. Heavy paper. Official seals. The kind that changes lives forever. Amara, anata wa nian enai ikitai desu ka? Amara, do you want to go to Japan? Her heart stopped. Literally stopped beating for 3 seconds. Hi, demo. Yes, but. Demo nani imo nai. Zenbu watashi ga yaru. But nothing. I'll handle everything. He handed her the envelope with hands that trembled slightly. Because he knew what was inside would honor his daughter's memory in the most beautiful way possible. Nani ga hate iru no. What's inside? Tokyo Daigaku e no Shugakukan. Jengogaku no Hake's KDI. A scholarship to Tokyo University. For a doctorate in linguistics. The lobby erupted. Not in whispers this time. In audible gasps. Actual screams from some of the staff. Because Tokyo University wasn't just any school. It was the school. Harvard of Japan. The place where dreams became reality and reality became legend. Full scholarship, Kenji continued in English, making sure everyone understood. Housing included. Living expenses covered. For 6 years. 6 years in Japan. 6 years at the most prestigious university in Asia. 6 years of turning her secret dream into a world-class education. Sarah started crying. Full ugly tears of joy and disbelief. Maria crossed herself and whispered prayers in Spanish. Even some of the guests looked moved, despite themselves. But Marcus? Marcus looked like he was watching the end of the world. Because it was. The end of his world. Where people stayed in their lanes. Where housekeepers' daughters cleaned floors instead of walking across them wearing business cards worth more than his annual salary. When do I leave? Amara asked, her voice barely audible. Tomorrow. Tomorrow. One word that meant everything would change. Again. Her secret notebooks filled with Japanese characters would become thesis papers. Her late-night YouTube videos would become lectures from real professors. Her impossible dream would become her impossible life. Demo okasan wa. But what about my mother? Kenji smiled. That soft, real smile from the penthouse. Kanojo emo isho ni kimasu. Moshi sor wa nozomu nara. She comes too. If she wants. The fairy tale was complete. But it was just beginning. 6 months later, Kenji stood in that same lobby. But everything was different now. Where Amara's corner chair used to sit, there was now a bronze plaque. In memory of dreams that refused to die, and voices that refused to stay silent. The Grand Seville had become something more than a luxury hotel. It had become a symbol. A reminder that extraordinary things happen when we listen to the people we usually ignore. Kenji pulled out his phone and opened a video call. Takahashi-san. Ohayo gozaimasu. Amara's face filled the screen, glowing with joy from her Tokyo University dorm room. Behind her, walls covered with certificates, awards, and photos of her teaching language classes to children from around the world. Genki desu ka? He asked. How are you? Totemo genki desu. Kyu wa nijuni no gakusiai ni ashite imashita. Very well. Today I taught 20 students. Her Japanese was even more perfect now. But more than that, she was radiant. Alive in a way that only comes when you're living your purpose. Sashite okasan wa. And your mother? Okasan imo genki desu. Kanojo wa neon ga daisuki desu. Mom is great too. She loves Japan. Through the phone, he could hear Rosa's laughter in the background. Rosa, who now managed the international dormitory at Tokyo University. Rosa, who had traded cleaning other people's dreams for helping her daughter build her own. Yuki-chan wa hokori ni o mat iru to omomasu. I think Yuki would be proud. Hi. Kanojo no yum wa ikaide mesu. Yes. Her dream is alive. Kenji ended the call and looked around the lobby one more time. The same marble floors. The same crystal chandeliers. The same wealthy guests walking through like they owned the world. But he saw it differently now. Because he'd learned something that night 6 months ago. In any room full of people, the most important voice might be the quietest one. The most valuable person might be the one everyone overlooks. The greatest dreams might belong to someone everyone underestimates. He walked toward the exit, but stopped and spoke to the lobby, to anyone who would listen. What hidden talent are you underestimating in others? The question echoed off the marble like a challenge. Like a promise. Like hope itself. Never judge someone by their appearance or circumstances. The quiet person in the corner might speak 5 languages. The janitor's daughter might have a PhD-level understanding of quantum physics. The invisible people around you might be carrying dreams bigger than your imagination. Amara's story teaches us that. Dreams don't discriminate ***, they belong to anyone brave enough to chase them. Language is power ***, it builds bridges between worlds. Respect costs nothing ***, but it can change everything. Hidden talents are everywhere ***, we just have to pay attention. One moment of courage ***, can transform your entire life. Every day, you walk past dozens of Amaras. People with incredible gifts hiding in plain sight. People whose potential could change the world if someone just gave them a chance. The question isn't whether talented people exist around you, ***. The question is, are you paying enough attention to notice them, ***. If this story moved you, inspired you, or made you see the world differently, smash that subscribe button right now. Bell ***. We share stories like this every week, stories that will make you laugh, cry, and believe in the impossible. Stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Stories that prove dreams don't have expiration dates. Don't miss our next video where we'll reveal ***. The homeless man who became a tech billionaire, and how one coffee changed everything. Subscribe now ***, and ring that notification bell. Because the world is full of incredible stories, and we're just getting started sharing them with you. What hidden talent do you have that the world needs to see, ***? Drop your answer in the comments below. Backhand index pointing down. See you in the next story, ***, fire.